So the Trump administration has come out and stated that they have drafted an order that they may indeed implement to investigate the large tech companies and figure out whether or not they're violating antitrust laws, whether or not they're colluding together to do all this, and whether or not they're censoring specifically conservatives, which it's pretty apparent that they are. When somebody like Alex Jones gets banned from every social media platform conceivable, in a matter of 12 hours, all at the same time, it's pretty obvious they're working in unison with one another. And it's also pretty obvious and 100% provable that these major tech companies do engage in bias.
Most people here are pretty upset and pretty sad because of the election.
It did feel like a ton of bricks dropped on my chest.
Trump specifically, who I know many of us find very offensive.
And I've had a chance to talk to a lot of fellow Googlers, and people have said different words, similar concept, how painful this is.
I find so many things that Trump said very offensive.
There is a lot of fear within Google.
I'm seeing Googlers who are full of fear.
There are people who are very afraid.
They're full of fear about the future.
I certainly find this election deeply offensive, and I know many of you do too.
I'll leave links to all this, obviously. Also, we have leaked information with emails, Google employees discussing whether or not they should manipulate search results to show more pro-immigration propaganda in the aftermath of Trump announcing the travel ban a few months back. So it's pretty obvious that, yes, the major tech companies are engaging in bias. Not only that, they're working in unison to help China and their society build a more technocratic, authoritarian, dystopian society. Obviously, we all know in China with the new social credit score, determining whether or not you have good social credit by how many video games you play and how much alcohol you drink, and whether or not you're actually buying Chinese products, and whether or not you're speaking bad about the government, or your family speaking bad about the government, or even your friends. That new social credit score. Who's helping out China right now? Well, let's think. We know Zuckerberg, Facebook, recently sold all your private information to China. Provable 100% as seen here. We know that Google is now developing a censored search engine for China to implement to make sure their citizens aren't seeing forbidden information and forbidden knowledge, because that Chinese Communist Party wants to keep their citizens in the dark. This is all happening as many of these tech companies are against Donald Trump, who is actively working to make it so the American-Chinese relationship is more fair, and so that we're not getting screwed over by China. Obviously, we have an insurrection of major tech monopolies who would rather see a Chinese society and would rather work for the Chinese. Zuckerberg sold your personal information, that's Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook, to the Chinese. That's confirmed. And China is the model society. We have to really look out for China. They are the threat. They're buying up so much property and investments here in the United States. And not only that, they're actively working to take over the South China Sea, and they want to expand and become more of a superpower. This is what they're doing, and they've studied American expansionism, and they plan on doing the same thing. And if we're not careful, we're going to be taken over by China. And there are many globalists, like the tech companies, who are on board with this. They want the Chinese society to come here. Not the people of China literally, but the Chinese Communist Party type of society. The dystopian, technological, authoritarian dictatorship. And they're all on board. The elites here want this. The globalists want it.
So it really shouldn't be any surprise to people that Donald Trump is going after these major tech companies. Not only because they are most likely violating antitrust laws and censoring people based on their own bias, but also they're provably helping the Chinese and working for the Chinese.
So I'll leave links for everything I just briefly talked about. It's just amazing how blatant and provable this is. All you got to do is read into the information. So I'll drop links below, like I said, and don't forget, if you believe in what I do, please, contribute on Patreon, become a patron, or contribute on PayPal, Ether, or Bitcoin, and let me know what you think. It's been Press. As always, keep your head up, stay real, and no fear.